to talk about how culture is a missing link between merit and success. So if you don't understand the rules of the game and you don't know how to play it, you could be a great performer, but you don't get ahead. Do you produce results in the areas the company values, right? Not do you just produce results, but do you produce results in the areas the company values? And equally importantly, can you talk about them in business language and the numbers that people understand? Sorry, the people are the men and they talk numbers and they like metrics. And if you can't talk numbers and metrics, they don't get that you're succeeding. So here's how the conversation goes. You ask a man, how's it going? And he says, we sold X number of widgets yesterday to 6 new clients. You ask a woman how it's going? It's going great. Everything's going really well, thank you. What does that mean? I don't understand. I don't speak that language. I speak the language of 6 widgets and 20 clients, right? So that's what I want you to say. Again, we're playing basketball here, so we need to play basketball. If we want to change it to play football, we'll change it to play football when we get there, right? So, do I have experiences in the areas that matter in this company? What are the experiences that matter at your company? Often they have to do with profit and loss and not very much with staff. But they can be sometimes in staff. When I worked in Bank of America, toward the end I worked in human resources, and human resources was king at Bank of America. We were at every table and every decision. The smartest and best line people got put into HR. So it doesn't mean HR is always staff, right? I mean, it is always staff, but it doesn't mean it's not important. What are the areas where experiences matter? At GE, right? I don't know if it's still this way, audit, right? You didn't have audit experience, like, forget it, right?
Part of the formula.
Part of the formula. International assignment. There's probably a few others, right? At your company, what is it? And are we saying to our young women, you've got to have experience in this area? And if you can't get it by going there, then you got to get it by working on a project, or being part of a team, or being in an assignment. Do you have business skills and business acumen? Do you understand strategy? Can you talk financials? Do you know the levers of performance that make your business go? What goes up, what goes down? When I push on this pedal, this works. When I pull up here, this stops. If you don't understand that and you can't speak that, even if you're working in finance or legal or HR or strategy, if you don't understand what levers drive performance, and you don't talk about how your area fits in with that, people don't see you as being, ready for senior and executive management. So it's those things, and I'm asking you, are you talking about those things with your women? Are you talking about those things as you mentor? Are you doing those things in your women's initiatives? Or are we constantly talking about the softer skills? Not saying don't talk about those. And then executive presence. So Sylvia Hewlett, for those of you who follow and read her work, has been talking a lot about this. Some people are calling it the missing 1/3. And it's around executive presence has to do with 3 factors. Gravitas, how much authority do you have in terms of what you say, and your poise, composure under pressure, those kinds of things. It has to do with your communication. How do you communicate? Do you use business language to communicate or not? And then lastly, it has to do with appearance. And with appearance, I'm not talking about what you're necessarily, like, dress a certain way, but are you polished, right? You can be dressed any way you like, but to have executive presence, you need to be polished. And People without executive presence don't get into executive level roles. I've coached a gajillion women around the world around executive presence, and you probably have as well. It's too bad, but if they're not perceived that way, then they don't get to come to the big boy table.
I'm so glad you put that on there. I was just in a meeting 2 weeks ago with the head of our healthcare business, trying to hire his successor, interviewing women, talking to us about who we liked, who we didn't like, and really liked the experience of this one woman and her skills and her background, but just worried about her executive presence. And I was like, what does that mean? Did she not look like you or act like you? So that was very helpful. I took it in a negative way, to be honest. Like, what, she looked like a girl, you know?
Yeah, and so I'm just going to use that as an example. Might not have been the case, but the follow-up question to that is, what do we do to help her get executive presence, and how do you define that, right? And for yourself, do you have it? And I think it's a lot about how you carry yourself and honestly how much space you take up. And you know, you can think about it right down to those levels. One of my clients is a very petite gal with sort of a soft-spoken voice, and you know, she did weird things like, you know, sit down and put all her, you know, take up a lot of real estate to make her place bigger, and stand more like, I mean, it's weird things, right? But you gotta, you know, gotta be there. And it's not about just about appearance. I don't want us to just go there.